Let's do a quick recap on the background for the Oedipus the King play. This is the story of Oedipus's birth up into his adulthood and his early time reigning over the city of Thebes. So I'm going to start over on the right side. We've got the city of Thebes, ruled over in this early part of the story by King Laius and Queen Jocasta. King Laius has received a prophecy that if he bears a son with his Queen Jocasta, that son will kill his father and marry his mother. And so when Queen Jocasta does in fact bear a son, he decides he's going to try to avoid his fate and make the prophecy fail. And so he takes the baby, he gives it to his servant. So baby Oedipus goes from Laius and Jocasta to his servant, and he has the servant drive a stake through his ankles and orders him to leave the baby on the mountain to die, thinking that the baby will die, prophecy avoided, which, by the way, never happens in these ancient myths. The prophecy always comes true in one way or another. So the servant drives the stake through the ankles. He takes this unnamed baby up to the mountain, but he struggles with leaving him there. Instead, he happens to run into this shepherd. The shepherd is from Corinth, and he takes the baby in, and he carries this unnamed baby back over to the city of Corinth, and he presents him to his king and queen, King Polybus and Queen Merope of Corinth. These two are childless, and they're in need of an heir. Having a male heir would bring a lot of peace to the city, because there'll be everybody can anticipate a nice transition of power when the time comes and Polybus dies. And so Oedipus is, this baby is named Oedipus in Corinth. Oedipus means swollen foot. He's going to have ankle injuries and feet problems because of the stake. But nevertheless, he grows up in Corinth. And he is raised there as the Prince of Corinth. How lucky, right? He was born a prince but thrown away, but he ends up being raised a prince anyway. And so he grows up there. Down the road, he ends up going to visit the oracle at Delphi. This is the oracle of Apollo. It's an actual temple, but it also pops up in a lot of mythological tales. The oracle would give prophecies for a price, of course. They were often cryptic and difficult to understand. When Oedipus visits the oracle, she says, "You will kill your father and marry your mother." Gross, icky, horrifying. And so he decides that he's going to change his life. He has to make a quick decision on the fly. He decides, I'll never go home again. If I never see my parents again, I can never kill my father or end up married to Merope. And so this is the big issue with Oedipus. He doesn't know the truth about himself. He's been lied to by his parents, probably with good intentions, but nevertheless lied to. And so he decides he's never going to go back again. As he's leaving the city of Delphi, probably in a lot of emotional turmoil, he decides, or he doesn't decide anything, sorry. He reaches this intersection where three roads meet, and there he gets into an argument, just a road rage argument, really, with an old man in a chariot surrounded by servants. The argument escalates, becomes violent between the old man and the servants and Oedipus. And Oedipus, I guess, is the strongest of the group. He ends up killing the old man and the servants traveling with him, and he continues on his way. It seems like Oedipus killed the man and the servants in self-defense, but that's something we can discuss later. Oedipus decides, flipping back to this one for a second, that he's going to travel to the other side of the mountain. He goes to Thebes. And when he gets there, Thebes is in trouble, in need of a hero. There is a sphinx, this monster you can see on the screen right now. It's the head of a woman, body of a lion, wings of an eagle. And she is tormenting the people here. She's asking them this riddle, and if they or when they can't answer it, she eats them. And so the riddle is as follows. What goes on 4 legs in the morning, 2 at midday, 3 in the evening? No one can answer the riddle. King Laius, the king of Thebes, had been traveling to the oracle to seek out the answer, but the people learn that he was murdered on the way. And so not only are they now without a king, which can throw them into civil war and turmoil, they also have this horrible sphinx situation. And so the brother of the queen, the recently widowed queen, Jocasta, her brother Creon decides, I will offer the crown to whoever can answer the riddle and save us from the sphinx. Oedipus strolls into town. He's smart. He takes a risk, answers the riddle, which kills the Sphinx, and he is crowned the king of thieves. He wins the hand of Jocasta also by killing the Sphinx. And so he is the hero of these people. They love and adore Oedipus. He rules over Thebes for many, many years. And it seems like he does a pretty good job. I mean, the people adore him. A relatively peaceful time goes by. And looking at his story from the outside, it seems pretty clear to us that when he killed that man outside of Delphi, he killed his father. And when he married this woman here in Thebes, he married who we know to be his biological mother. It's a horrible, icky story. But think about how it looks from the outside if you don't know that. Oedipus is pretty lucky. He was able to win the crown with his wit. He was able to marry the queen and rule over this city pretty well for many, many years. And so from the outside, it looks great, but we as the audience know that there's this terrible underside, this terrible truth in the life of Oedipus that's really not so great. After he rules over Thebes for quite a long time, we'll say 20 years, he has 4 children with his lovely wife Jocasta. They seem to be very happily married. But a plague strikes the city of Thebes, and you can see in this picture right up here, looks like the gods, probably Apollo, raining down arrows on the people. And so when a plague hits the city of Thebes, they know they've done something to anger the gods. That's the Greek mindset, the ancient Greek mindset. And so they learn from the oracle that in order to rid the city of the plague, they will have to find the murderer of their king, King Laius. According to the oracle, they never sought vengeance for the murder, which was their responsibility, and that murderer is in fact living in the city of Thebes. We know that that murderer is in fact Oedipus. And so the play begins with this new turmoil, this new situation of trouble for Thebes, and an attempt for Oedipus to once again, as the king, save the city. So the play is filled with lots of dramatic irony. Dramatic irony is it occurs when we as the audience know something that the characters in the story do not. It really heightens the drama and creates great suspense. And so the people that Sophocles, the playwright, were writing for, his audience, they were familiar with the Oedipus myth. And so he starts in medias res, which means in the middle of things, roughly translated. And so he doesn't tell the backstory of Oedipus. We know the backstory of Oedipus. He picks up 20 years into his reign with this plague. And so we know that Oedipus is actually the child of Laius and Jocasta, even though he thinks he's the child of Polybus and Merope from Corinth. We know that Oedipus has already long ago fulfilled this horrible prophecy about his father and mother, but no one on the stage really has any idea. And so there's lots of dramatic irony. Okay, hope that's helpful.